Hello, bonjour, hello, hey, hiya and privyet hockey fans. Welcome to the Europuck podcast.
The show where two blokes from Blighty talk about everything to do with European hockey as part of the Hockey Podcast Network.
From the Russian KHL to the Swedish Hockey League, the Finnish Liga to the Swiss National League, the British Elite League to the Alps Hockey League, we talk about anything and everything European hockey.
Catch our podcast every Friday from August the 28th, however you get your podcasts, and on the Europuck Podcast YouTube channel.
The Europuck Podcast, giving you guys European hockey.
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 71 of the Discussion 5. So, not for much longer. We're changing names soon. Apparently the world doesn't understand the Russian 5 and the Discussion 5 and the relationship there. So, and we're the Brothers of Discussion, so it was branding, but that's gotta go. So, for now, still talking the 5 most pressing matters for your Detroit Red Wings. We are found at BOD Hockey, which, you know what, that might not have to change on Twitter. Brothers of Discussion Hockey is what we're doing there. We're also on Twitter as BOD Podcast for all of our pro wrestling coverage, which SummerSlam weekend. We hope that you guys will check out what we're doing going forward. We went live for the first time, and we've gotten 487 views on Facebook. So I'm
kind of a big deal.
Stoked about that. Oh God, I'm so stoked. I knocked my headphones out and I can't hear what Mike's saying. He's probably saying something amazing. Oh no, he's good. All right.
And that's why Matt is the best podcaster ever.
Yay! Find us on Instagram with our joint account, which is, you know what, we should just start calling it the Brothers of Discussion account, because when we have new Brothers of Discussion shows, that's where that's going to be hosted as well. Yeah. It's brothers_of_discussion. Mike, quick, let's do a pro wrestling show. It'd be a hot tag. We call it a line change here. I wonder if we should call it like a breakaway or something, or like a.
I think every
like
time
transitional pass.
Yeah, every time we got a new point coming, we'll call it a cracking tentacle.
You know what? How about I got a one-timer coming at you.
Yeah, I got a big cracking one-timer.
All right.
I'm so mad about the name change. We're changing it to the Detroit Red Wing Cracking Open the Discussion podcast.
Our official statement is we're not mad about it.
Oh, I mean, we are very excited about it.
Smile, Michael. Smile. We're not mad. Mike, how do you feel about doing a podcast?
Great.
So I'm thinking about adding to our brand.
Getting ready to get onto the hardwood, a little NBA, huh?
Yeah. Mike, what do you think? Basketball, my favorite sport.
Woo!
Anyways.
In it. Yeah.
You know what?
I'm in it to win it.
Honestly, there aren't a ton of basketball podcasts. There are a lot of Red Wing podcasts. You guys have quite a few to choose from. I think there's more Red Wing podcasts than there are basketball podcasts.
I mean, if you do basketball for Detroit area, it's a little redundant because all you're going to talk about is the Detroit team tumbling down the draft lottery because it happened once again. But neither here nor there.
Well, here's the thing. That wasn't even the question I was going to ask. I was thinking we should start a podcast where we watch sports movies and we analyze them as if we were watching real games. So we'll have like a series of like Mighty Ducks, and we'll actually analyze each game as it goes along instead of just like the whole movie. We're going to go that game one against, the Hartford Willy Dillies. I don't know what any of those other teams' names were. And I also just revealed I can't remember what city that movie was actually set in.
Well, I will say that I would love to do a fantasy draft of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League just to get Marla Hooch at number 1.
Yeah.
I want to rebuild the Peaches, and I know there will be a lot of redundancy, but Marla Hooch needs to go number 1. There's and you know what? There aren't a lot of good pitchers who can hit it, and I think we could have taken Kit number 2. So I think that catcher who will go unnamed, we'll let her tumble down the draft board because I want a pitcher who can hit, and I want the best hitter in the league. So suck it, Gina Davis. Woo! Yeah, hot takes over here.
I kind of feel like, let's not dive deep into that. Let's keep moving.
You don't want to talk about Kit Henson versus Dottie Henson?
I mean, I think that's what I want to do with that podcast. But
you don't want to talk about fictional All-American Girls Professional Baseball League players?
Yeah, I think that would be so much fun if we redraft the league like we're going to redraft today, the 2011 NHL Draft. You know what? I shouldn't have even said this on the podcast because now somebody else is going to steal this great idea that I had. But all right, it's almost as good as the idea where I wanted to do a couple of old guys doing a podcast, but they always, when they hit record, they're actually hitting stop, and they had been recording all of their pre-show notes. So they have like amazing guests that come on. And they never get to them because they hit record and they've stopped the show because they never figure it out. So all they do is have fun banter and try and like figure out what they're going to talk about in the episode, and then
figure out the questions they cannot ask that person.
Right. And it would just be fun because you'd have to keep the illusion going for years. If the podcast was successful, you'd keep it going for years where guests would still sign on to be on their podcast, knowing full well that when they listen back to it later, there's nothing there. I don't know. I just thought.
So did they do like 10 or 15 episodes in the can before they realized it?
That's what I mean. Like that's where the illusion would have to.
Or is this like a VH1 behind the music, and we're just getting all this information from like the producer of this show?
No, I think they're trying to. This is the stuff that ruins these ideas. These are the questions that don't matter. What matters is that there's 2 old guys that are producing their own podcast, and they don't know how to do it. So they have fun banter before the show. Then they have these amazing guests, and they never actually post it. They just have a conversation with the guest, and then maybe there's a post show where they stop the record session with their amazing guest, and then they're signing off again because they hit record instead of stop. It's a fun play on I was picturing like the John Mulaney, Nick Kroll old guy show.
Yeah, I think there's no, but I know what you're talking about. I think there's a lot of potential there for them to to size up all these questions, say they're going to interview like Christopher Nolan. And then, they tease that they, I can't believe we got the answer to the end of Inception about whether or not the top stops spinning. So here we go. And then the show just abruptly ends.
Or like I'd want every episode to end with just this clatter of like them getting up or closing their laptop because they don't know that they're actually recording post show as well. So it's just, you hear them like bump into each other trying to there's slapstick. It's like it'll be like old time radio, like everything going wrong, and you just got to imagine it in your head. It's a great idea.
Yeah, not like on this show.
Don't kill this for me. Yeah, that like they'll never get to the point, unlike this show. Hey, you want to talk hockey, Mike?
Let's do it.
See, now that's the banter that as I go around the rest of the Hockey Podcast Network, which can be found at HockeyPodNet, that I feel like we're missing on our show. There's a lot of banter on these other shows.
Breaking news. Now, we're recording on a Sunday, and as we all know, the Detroit Cookie Company has cinnamon rolls 2 days a week, but today's one of those days, and there's a sound of screen door is being opened, and it's 10:56. Now, Detroit Cookie Company opens at 11. Becky, my lady, was awake on her phone Instagramming, but there's an outside chance that she's outside right now getting me a cinnamon roll. Now, if that door opens, you guys will know that something really good is happening to me. But we got to wait a few minutes. These things sell out in like 10 minutes. They only make 60 a day, 2 days a week.
You're afraid that your girl is going to hear you.
I'm just trying not to jinx it.
Is it you ruining the secret, or?
I'm ruining the secret for myself. So okay. I hear doors. I hear Humbly Bumbly, Winnie the Pooh bumbling around out there, but I don't know what's going on. There's not a reason for her to be outside. I can see the backyard. I don't see any flowers being maintained or vegetables being watered. Most of our electronics are inside, so I don't think she's playing Nintendo Switch out there. There's a pretty good chance there's a cinnamon roll in my future.
Oh, good. I've actually, Mike, you were there yesterday. My baby girl had her first birthday yesterday.
Lest we forget who got her the greatest gift. It was me.
Yeah.
A 99-cent doggy card with a little floofy floof on the top.
We brushed that across her nose all night last night. So much fun. She did get a smash cake though, which if you're familiar and anybody's ever been to a 1-year-old's birthday, what you do is you set a cake in front of a 1-year-old and see what they do. And her go at it didn't, it was cute. She didn't really
it's pretty timid.
Much. Yeah, she didn't eat too much of the cake. I actually had a bet going with my wife. My wife said she would go face first into it. And I said, I think she'll be pretty can I touch it kind of thing? And that's what she did. So I was right. So I know my daughter better than my wife. Anyways, ton of cake left. I tweeted about it this morning. Mike, I passed the pancakes. I went for real cake this morning. And I mean handfuls of cake because it's a smash cake. So my daughter's already gone to town on it. So if I do another handful, I'm not making a bigger mess. There's already cake crumbs everywhere. There's frosting taken out. We're not going to save it and cut it up later. She was sneezing all over it. I don't mind the sneezing. So yeah, Mike, I've had a wonderful morning eating.
That was going to be my follow-up question. If you're eating the side that she sneezed Snoogies on, or if you're eating the other side. But
absolutely. No, I'm keeping the other side clean because it's still it was a Winnie the Pooh jar of honey. So that is still intact. But the side that she was eating on is in my tummy right now, getting ready to pass the COVID around the family.
I just recently learned from your doctor wife, babies can't eat honey. And, son of a bitch, you two found a way to give your baby daughter a honey cake. It just says the word honey on it, but not the actual food.
We were a little self-conscious about people seeing that the jar said honey and having people go, oh, you're not supposed to give your baby honey.
They don't know, babies. They're kryptonite. Babies can't have honey.
I know Dad listens to this, but what was funny is Dad turned into an expert yesterday on honey and babies eating it. But he was the one 2 weeks ago where I was like, no, you can't give her honey. And he, it's like finger with honey towards her mouth. And yesterday he was like, oh, so it's 2 now that you can't give them honey? Oh, okay. I was like, I'm gonna
have to let me update my medical journals over here. Didn't realize the new research had come in already. Okay.
I love you, Dad.
Yeah.
All right, everybody's least favorite father in the NHL, Mike Milbury. Mike, he's excused himself from the rest of the NHL playoffs.
Is that what we're calling it?
Excusing himself? Oh, right. I meant to put that in quotes.
Why is he he's politely going to the bathroom? No, we've heard enough, man.
I gotta go get
the hell out of here.
Guys. The piece of shit made another dumb comment, and I like ESPN did the research for me. So it was 2011. He called the Sedin brothers Thelma and Louise. If you're gonna insult someone, just call them a woman. Not saying, I hope nobody makes a soundbite out of that. Milbury's a fucking piece of shit. 2012, Dan Bilesma, take off your skirt and go over there. And now, just 2-3 days ago,
So
why the NHL playoffs are so great and why the bubble's working out so well. Not even any women here to disrupt your concentration. Mike, that's not even the worst thing he's ever said, but it's goddamn, like, shut the fuck up, old man. And he has, because the NHL said, yeah, we don't approve of this message or any Milbury message. And it looks like the meeting went down like, hey, we've been real good to you. You've been saying shitty things, since 2011. So you're going to go out there and you're going to say, I'm done. And that's the long and short of it. And I've been, God, I hate the NBC broadcast. I've not been shy about that on this podcast, in saying how much I hate almost everybody on there. We did just talk on our wrestling podcast that there's a certain Renee Young who should be available to hop on board.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. For her to politely excuse herself from the sidelines onto the desk. But I'm really glad that the Tucker Carlson of NHL commentary has excused himself. Screw this guy. I don't know what's really to be expected, first of all, in terms of anything progressive from a 68-year-old turd like this. But
right.
Matt, I'm so excited for the timing here to get him out. And can I just say this is the second time we've mentioned Gina Davis in this show, because she's the star of Thelma and Louise. And what a dipshit to pick Thelma and Louise, two women who go on a women empowerment road trip and then ended in a blaze of glory off a cliff, in real bravery. If you're going to go, that's the way to go, in a convertible off a fucking mountain. So I don't know if I would have, punched low and said, you're two women who took their lives and deaths into their own hands in the most badass way possible. But that's what you get when you're a dipshit like Mike Milbury. So there you go.
Yeah, I not much else to say about this, but I'm happy, and I hope that Renee Young gets her shot out of here.
Just keep saying it. Renee Young.
Renee Young. All right, second round of the playoffs. Mike, last night we got one game in. We got, I love how fast this just jumps right into the second round. They were prepared to play game sevens today, and they started the second round yesterday. So I love the scheduling. It's just nonstop hockey. I am going to miss watching hockey at noon, on a Wednesday, because now there's not enough games, so they're just going to be doing prime time. But, oh, man, this has been so great. And you're still enjoying that with basketball. I heard you mention it 3 times yesterday at my daughter's birthday, that the NBA starts at noon, goes all day, and you call it the NCAA tournament, and it was just fun. It was fun that you mentioned it 3 times yesterday. I counted. Anyway, Mike, the series I think we're all most excited for has got to be Boston and Tampa. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other way to dissect it. It's just
flat, a little Braden Point, huh? A little Nicky Coochie, huh?
I mean, it's just there's something about the second round where I was actually thinking that I wanted the topic to be today. How much does the second round of NBA, NHL, like the playoffs, it just kind of sucks. Like in the NFL, you're just, it's the second round. Like it's not that first round where, in the NHL, it just, you hope for chaos. It seems like everything kind of goes wrong in the first round. You're excited because it is, it's the beginning of the playoffs. The third round, you've got conference championships. And of course, then you're awarding the major trophy in the fourth round. The second round, I struggle to think, even when the Red Wings were winning the cup, who they played in the second round of those seasons. I think it's tough. The second round is the one that, when we won in 2002, I actually went on a trip, missed the entire second round. And I remember going to the Stanley Cup parade and going,
what a hollow victory.
What?
I didn't even see the second round.
Didn't even matter. I was pretty young at that point. But I just remember seeing, because they had pucks that said how many games it took to win each round. And then just not knowing, I think right now I'm even struggling. It was St. Louis, right? When did we play them? Anyways, so that's wrong now, I think. And I think we complain all the time about the NHL and the way it sets up its playoffs. Obviously, this year it's super different. But this second round matchup of Boston and Tampa, I mean, this definitely could have been our Eastern Conference Finals, and I think we all would have been pretty thrilled with that. But we get it now, so we're not missing it. It's not out of the playoffs, but I think immediately it made my whole argument of the second round being baloney. It's gone because now we just get good hockey. I don't know.
Well, you also get, there's Islanders and Philly, which, it smells like a bloodbath Philly's way. But Matt, there's Vegas Golden Knights in Vancouver.
I'm going to say, just real quick, I am taking the Islanders there. I think the way that they handled Washington.
No.
The way that they handled Washington, I don't know.
I think I was just excited to mention Vancouver and Vegas because now people are floating out there. Man, Quinn Hughes could have been a Red Wing. That could have been ours.
Yeah, it's cool to see like Quinn Hughes and Bo kind of get like attention now because Vancouver's doing so well, and it's something that the West Coast just doesn't get the same coverage as anybody in that Metropolitan Division, but mostly the Eastern Conference. So anything that happens, for Vancouver right now, especially with them being highlighted, being one of the bubble cities, I'm super happy for them, and I've become like a huge Vancouver fan. Now they're playing my other favorite team in the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights. So, bye-bye Vancouver. I'm cool with that. But if they make it forward, I'm not going to be super disappointed because I think we're all just sitting here now going, man, Quinn Hughes got passed 7 times. Yeah, go ahead. Let him go win a cup. Hey, all good things for Quinn Hughes. He really does look like, he's going to turn into a year after year Norris Trophy candidate. So sound defensively. He's silky smooth out there. And yeah, the story is great of how many teams pass on a guy. And then, now he's potentially...
it would be another heartwarming story if, by chance, 3 draft slots passed on Lafreniere. What a uplifting story that would be to see him, this ne'er-do-well get picked 4th by the Red Wings. Wouldn't that be neat?
Anyways,
let's go back into reality here, Matt. Speaking of close calls you're not going to be worried about. Thanks to Manscaped.
Woo!
Yeah.
Shaving your twig and berries has never been safer, easier,
or more fun.
I was gonna say that. Damn you. They've got that. Where is it? The 7,000 RPM motor with the quiet stroke technology. They've got that LED light, which we talk about week after week, is illuminating where the sun don't shine. I mean, you need that light. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I keep looking down. You guys are watching this on YouTube. It's like I'm looking at my twig and berries just going like, how do you adjust it and you can't, there's still a shadow. There's always a shadow. So you need that light so you can shave down there. But that's just barely scratching the surface. Actually, it's not scratching the surface. There's no scratching. It's just
scratch-free surface.
Hair's getting trimmed, and you get more air brushing through your legs. It's fantastic. But if you want to feel all the cool breeze that we've been feeling since, good gravy, what's it been? Since like February or March that we've been trimming our nuts. You want to go to manscaped.com and use promo code THPN. That is promo code THPN to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. They've got those packages with the Lawnmower 3.0 where we've been talking about the ball deodorant. You've got that lubricant to get your nuts all goosed up. You've got the underwear to keep you all feathery down there. And, man, you get a little bit of powder in there with that underwear. You could just be bouncing all day. There's no worries. But you'll also have a nice, neat and trim bush because you've got the Lawnmower 3.0. No weeds growing out of that. Sorry,
out of that garden. Yeah.
I don't know why I wanted to go in the direction of a sorry sack. No, he's a happy sack. Get your happy sack bouncing like a hacky sack because you went to manscaped.com and use promo code THPN for 20% off and free shipping. Mike, it is now our favorite time of every episode because we're going to analyze the 2011 NHL Draft, which was 6 years after the relationship with ESPN died. Yet it's still the greatest. What we were just singing there. 2011 was 6 years past that relationship dying.
Oh yeah.
But the transition song, it's the best ever.
I think because the other one, it's kind of hard to do. You do that fum 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 fum. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah.
Oh, from NBC, yeah.
And then it's just like a commercial. I don't know. The other one just has an easier. I like the cadence better.
What about dribble and basketball?
And then you shoot and then it goes in. Dribble and basketball. Yeah, we're gonna have to write one for hockey. Yeah.
We should have done this last week, but this is Steve Yzerman's second draft with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I would say he did pretty goddamn well. Draft number 2.
I hope that his second draft for the Red Wings goes as well.
Hey, yeah, I'll take that second round Nikita Kucherov. We have going into this season, or I guess after this season, only one guy is a point per game player in this entire draft, which is just crazy to me. I can't believe there's only one guy that's a point per game player. Now, we've got Johnny Hockey coming through here, and it's just you could make the argument that there's so many seasons ahead that he's going to be over a point per game, that he'll catch up to that. And a lot of this is telling to as we get closer and closer to 2020 with our draft analysis, that's really just the long and short of it, is these guys haven't played enough seasons. But I'm not highlighting it to say these guys are terrible. I think this draft is way better than the 2010 draft, and some of your anus is just tightened to new levels because I said that. But I'm pretty confident after doing this week after week that this 2011 draft is so much better than the 2010 draft. I had fun putting it together. All right, so the 1 point per game player, just to say that again, is more of a reference to like how close we are getting to 2020. How many guys just haven't hit that peak yet in their development, which is still great. Like, that's how close we are. That's how close 2011 is to 2020. Is we haven't seen every player in this draft still or have their peak moment as a professional or as a human being as they develop. And then let's see, if we continue down the list here. Last week we said 30 people played 500 plus games. We're going to say 27 people have played 400 plus games. And now let's jump into our scouting department winners. Guess who finished taking his notes there? That's fun. Well, I think it's pretty easy based on our excitement to just talk about this. But Stevie Y did not do a terrible job at all. And I think right now all I have typed in there was the Tampa Bay Lightning. But a first round did you pick up a guy that changes your franchise forever in Vladislav Namestnikov? No. He's a guy who's still playing. He's got 425 games under his belt. He's since moved from center to find some more success on the wing. But, I mean, your second round was Nikita Kucherov, and then your pick number 208 was Andre Palat. So that's all I need, right? I mean, that's my winner in this draft. I don't know if you could do much better than that. And I know we go out of our way to make sure we're picking like 3 or 4 winners from the NHL draft, but I mean, you just picked up a game changer in the second round. You've also got some other game changers that are coming through, including our Datsuk Diamond in the Rough winner, which was either Johnny Hockey, Gaudreau, but I'm going to stick with Andre Palat. But yeah, I think that's the long and short of it for me. Steve Yzerman getting the win in this draft. Our scouting department losers, Mike, it looks like we're taking that note right now, so I'm gonna jump in and
yeah, they got all-world center Travis Boyd.
Woo!
Not a hot season for the Capitals there. They were, doing better in the regular season. They had Ovechkin, so they're kind of punching on this draft. In their defense, though, they didn't start picking until 117 because of some fancy Michael Scott financial footwork, trading some picks around for people. But not a banner year for the Capitals, Matt. I think that they definitely looked over to their Floridian brothers with envy and jealousy. But Matt, that brings us to the Datsuk Diamond in the Rough winner. And for this one, I usually pick guys who go in like the 150s and the 200s. And this one we kind of moved up a little bit, but I think it's well-deserved because of how well he's done and how he had kind of a late start to even playing in the National Hockey League. Matt, was it Johnny Hockey?
So that's the thing. Is it Johnny Hockey, or do we go Andre Palat because he was actually picked 208th? And if you're looking at who's going to have the better career when it's all said and done, we're going to go Johnny Hockey. But Andre Palat is still a very impressive draft so late, and to have a guy that's got some Selke votes, 328 points in 496 games. I mean, that's what you pray for when you're drafting these random guys. Once you get past round 3, and I say random, some of you are probably, again, your anuses are tightening to new levels and you're creating diamonds down there with the coal you have shoved up there. But just look at the list of names that actually make it to the NHL past the third round. That's what we're talking about when I say a random selection of names. If we knew, and that's why you do the redrafts, right? If we knew Nikita Kucherov was going to be Nikita Kucherov, he's not going in the second round. All right.
That's false. Yzerman's just really shrewd. He had an idea. I could put off a all-time player into maybe the second or third round. Yeah, I don't want to take him too high. I don't want him to get overvalued. I'm just going to keep waiting, and I just know these other teams have no clue what they're doing. So,
and you can make the argument too that a lot of the players having success has to do with the team's development. I don't know, behind them and the minors and what they're doing. But I mean, is there really from one team to another, there's that extra skate around the rink? Well, now this guy's faster. No, we have him do 201 laps. I don't know. It's a lot of it is God-given talent, right? I mean, that's how you get a guy that ends up being first overall, and he's Connor McDavid because we see what he looks like years ago. All right. I think I'm just defending my statement on random players, but let's keep moving along. The Yuri Depita, we've got another 21-year-old.
Yeah, give me that one. I love you, Yuri Depita. This is the oldest player drafted, and if this is your first episode to what will be the rebranded Discussion 5. Yuri Depita was a 29-year-old drafted. He got a foot in the grave, and he was taken in an NHL draft. And played games, not a lot, but he played. So we like to honor the oldest player draft, even though we're probably going to have to retire this category because now everybody kind of figured out, let's not draft 30-year-olds. This year, we're going to pick a guy who shares a first name with one of Will Ferrell's kids, Magnus Nygren, defenseman who hasn't quite panned out yet, but what a name. Drafted 113th, and his name is Magnus. Other famous Magnuses, I believe that was the father of Matilda and the Roald Dahl hit Matilda. So there you go. Matt, there's a couple great contenders for the Good Boy Award. The award we give to people who, through thick and thin, to stick with the team who drafted them. And this category might be harder and harder to keep as we keep getting into the present. They don't have time to leave yet. But Matt, who's in the Good Boy Award?
Well, this is fun because the easy one is Nikita Kucherov, because we like to say you have to be good at hockey if you actually get the Good Boy Award, because there's some guys that stick around forever and suck, Abdul Kader. But the other guy I wanted to throw on here was Johnny Hockey because of all the talk that he might get moved. So I just thought, let's throw him in on the Good Boy Award. So when somebody listens to this, in another couple of months, and they're like, a couple of doofuses put him as a good boy. And again, the good boy is the guy who's good at hockey and he sticks around with one team. And $9.5 million for Cooch. I think I'd stick around too. All right, so what did the Wingies do? Well, Mike, as a huge fan of the NHL game, I thought it was a huge year. We picked up Thomas Yurko, Xavier Ouellet, who's now playing with not anymore, was playing with the Canadiens. And then Sproley. Sproley was my boy. He was my top 2 defenseman every time for a few straight years in the NHL game. Because, I mean, he was supposed to be our sniper. He was supposed to be our right-handed shot at the point. And, it didn't pan out. But it always worked out in the NHL game. So I want to give a shout-out to Sproley boy. I was super thrilled. He liked one of my tweets once. But when you're a hockey player and you've only got like 1,000 followers, it's pretty rare when somebody.
You gotta like every mention you can. You gotta get that brand out there.
Right. But overall, you've got a playoff performer in Xavier Ouellet, but
Xavier, don't call me
omelet. Really
omelet.
Panned out for the Red Wings.
What?
Nothing really panned out for the Wingies.
Oh, I wanted that joke to go over. But Xavier,
I didn't hear.
Xavier, don't call me omelet.
Anyway, time to read.
Come on, it almost looks like omelet. All right,
this is we did it again. Time to redraft the 2011 NHL Draft. Did I update all these names? Yes. Okay. So, quick recap: Oilers take Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Avalanche number 2 take Gabriel Landeskog. Florida Panthers take Johnny Huberdeau. Devils take Adam Larson. Islanders take Ryan Strome. Senators take Mika Zibanejad. The Jets take Mark Scheifele, another candidate for the Good Boy Award. Flyers take Sean Couture. Bruins take Dougie Hamilton. And the Wild take Jonas Brodin. So, Mikey, does everybody like out there that I keep saying the Good Boy Award is you have to be good at hockey and stick with your team, and I didn't pick Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I didn't say Johnny Huberdeau. I didn't say this guy. No, they're all fine. They're actually on my draft board and in my top 15 here. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins isn't. Again, anus is tightening. Let's jump in. Mike, you have the first pick, I believe, this time around.
I do.
And man, you must be sweating bullets right now and trying to figure out who are you going to take in the 2011 draft that possibly compares to the success of a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Keeping in mind the Oilers just picked Taylor Hall the year before.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
do you really want to give him another winger? Oof. Who knows if he'll pan out?
Apologies to famed conservative guitarist and noted British thespian Anthony Hopkins. That's the hybrid name that the Oilers took originally at number 1. Now, when you pick number 1, you're just looking for the best player in the goddamn draft. Nugent-Hopkins, not that guy. Not bad. Not that guy, Matt. There's one guy head and shoulders above the rest. He is the dandruff shampoo above the rest. And he was taken in the second round. Matt, he scored 128 goddamn points last season. He was already at 85 in 68 games this season. Matt, he is the guy who got Yzerman the job in Detroit as the general manager. He is like Ken Holland could rest his laurels on Zetterberg and Datsuk. Guys a little bit deeper in the draft who turned into all-world players. Matt, this guy, he is a career maker. He is Nikita Kucherov. There is no doubt that he should go number 1. I don't care if he played goaltender. He had excellent numbers, Matt, and it's just getting better. You don't find just, it's not that he's the first line player, Matt. He's a first line player for the All-Star game. He's that excellent. The skill level is at such a peak. Any team would blush to trade this kind of luck in the second round. Matt, Red Wing fans would, I don't know what they would, they'd give up a tentacle, an octopus tentacle to have this guy playing here. I know we were kind of drooling over the idea of Stamkos and, a couple seasons ago, and he was kind of, flirting with, leaving Tampa Bay. But this is the guy that you would really want on the Red Wings to be the generational talent. So there's no disputing this guy is the best player in this draft. And he goes number one to the Oilers. It doesn't matter how many other wings you have. Now you have the best wing, arguably the best wing in hockey. Nikita is an Oiler.
All right. So this is kind of tough for me because I'm kind of thinking for number 2.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
I
know you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. Don't do it. I wanted him at number 3. Don't do it.
Here's the thing.
God damn it.
I have my draft board, and I have a guy that I already put at number 2, and I should just take him at number 2. But I'm thinking if I take Johnny Hockey at number 2, the Avalanche are still going to be in the same position to pick up Nathan MacKinnon, and they still might not be that great, and they'll get Cale Makar, and they'll be amazing. Like, you just imagine, like, what that team would look like with Johnny Hockey, Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen. Oh, man, setting yourself up with the Cale Makar that's going to be a Norris finalist, in the years to come. And you get to match left wing because they took Gabriel Landeskog. Huge upgrade, I feel. Even though Landeskog has his own set of skills, and I think you're looking at a more of a two-way forward. I'm going to do it. I'm going to skip my own draft board, and I'm going to take Johnny Hockey at number 2. Give me the good boy.
Wow. Look at this crazy son of a bitch. Matt, we're going to Florida. All right. They had the 3rd pick here, and they took Jonathan. Really fun to say his last name. Is it Huberdeau? Huberdoo.
You made me think of Humperdinck from the Preacher show.
He did. He was fine. He's fine. There's a player that I really like, and looking at this roster for Florida in 2011, when their best defenseman was Brian Campbell at 32, and he was already long in the tooth there. Couple of kind of an interesting roster here for the Panthers. They're looking at like Ed Jovanovski, Michael Samuelson, Thomas Kopecky, Stephen Weiss when he was still worth a damn. And
a lot of Wings connections there.
Yeah, what the heck's going on there? But not a lot of excellent young defensemen. So, Matt, I don't know why this guy keeps hot potatoing, because if you can see how Yzerman values bigger defensemen. And you know what? Just like Stevie Y himself, I'm going to value a big defenseman. Matt, number 3, we're going to turn around that defense in Florida. All right, we're not doing Brian Campbell and his 1 goal and 30 assists because he gets to play on the power play. We're not doing that. We're getting a man. We're getting a man who gets some deep cut analytics. We're getting a 6'6" monster, Dougie Hamilton. Boom. I have no idea why teams keep punting on this guy. Can they please punt him over to Detroit? I would love to see him and our boy Mo Sider form a Bash Brothers top defensive pairing of just 2 6'5" and higher Goliaths. No, he doesn't totally light up the stat sheet, but he doesn't not score. I mean, he puts up points, and he's a great defensive defenseman.
He's our analytics darling defenseman.
Yeah. I mean, he had four straight seasons, 82 games. This year for Carolina, he had a couple owies, but I don't know what else you want. If he's, getting nods to, be in an all-star game, be up there for the Norris, he's durable, he gets on the stat sheet, and he does all the second-tier stuff that you want. I don't know what else you want. These teams are crazy to give up on him. Boston and Calgary, I'm looking at you. Shame. Carolina, good on you. Just keep him around, but not too long, because Detroit could use him. Man. That takes us to the Devils at number 4.
Well, this is how it's nice and easy to have a draft board, because even though I mixed up my 2 and 3, and you start to wonder, why do I even do this? My number 4 on my draft board is Mark Scheifele.
Damn it!
I think the same kind of conversations can start with Scheifele. Now, is this a guy that from the start of his NHL career he was knocking doors down? No, but I think he's finally.
I thought you were going to say knocking boots.
I think he's finally turned into
boots,
the
traveling on road games and bedding Phillies and hotels. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. But yeah, as I was saying, he's finally turned into like the Mark Scheifele that gets drafted top 10. So he's going to move up. I'm not going to do any sort of matching of positions that were drafted in that spot. I think that's going to be pretty tough looking at this draft board. But Scheifele's a guy that's been doing point per game since the 17th season, and it's pretty close starting in 15-16. He's gotten Selke votes, so he gets recognized for it's the two-way forward mentality that actually is paying off for a guy that has to also score for his team. You get put on those first 2 lines and you can accomplish being a two-way forward. I think that always says a lot. And that's why this guy's point share is through the roof for this draft, for the entire draft. He's in that top 10, and he's going number 4 for me. So Scheifele gets to jump from Winnipeg over to I forgot who I was drafting for. Oh, the Devils. Oopsies.
Yeah. That takes us to pick number 5. The Islanders originally took Ryan Strome. There weren't too many bombs, at the top of this draft. But I still think I can help him out a little bit. I'm going to give him a guy who's, starting to really hit his stride. Not for the Islanders, but for a different New York team. Matt, he's doing really well for the Rangers. He actually had a few magical moments for some of my NHL fantasy hockey teams. Matt, he's a good player, and his name is fun to say. Give me Mika Zibanejad. The recency bias is something that you like to point out, and this season is no different. This year, he's starting to really climb that mountain. Last year, he had 74 points in 82 games. This year, 75 and 57. In real life, I'm really jealous because he's probably going to be playing with some pretty fun, recent draft picks. You got damn Rangers. He's starting to really play well for the Rangers. So, maybe he just likes playing in New York. So we'll set him up with the Islanders, and maybe the 75 that he's got this season, maybe it happens a little bit earlier for the Islanders, Matt. And they, get that positional consistency there. They wanted a center. Mika's pretty good at the face-off, and now he's been redrafted. Matt, that means at number 6. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say for this whole draft. So I've got the Senators who did take Mika, and it kind of looks like now that I'm looking at our top 10 and my draft board and what this actual top 10 looks like. So the Senators take Zibanejad, Scheifele's off the board, and I guess this is really just shuffling everyone around because I'm going to go Sean Couture. I just like. I can't say it enough. I'm always a huge fan of those two-way defensemen, and Sean Couture could arguably be the best two-way defenseman. Two-way forward, good God. Did I say that the whole time for Scheifele? Did I keep calling him a two-way defenseman? Anyway, Sean Couture could arguably be dubbed as the best two-way forward on this draft. I know I always picked him up, and I fell in love with him in fantasy hockey because he'd rack up more than just goals as a guy that's going to crunch the other team too. So I'm actually jumping around on my draft board again, and for whatever reason, I know who's falling down the list right now, and I'm a huge fan of his. But again, it might just be success of his own team that's making him fall, and I think everybody knows who I'm talking about now. But give me Sean Couture. He's going to be going number 6. Mike, you got the Jets, who did take Mark Scheifele. What are they going to do now?
I'm really on the fence on this one because Andrei Pavlich is pretty dang good. But Matt, is he John Gibson good? No. Matt, at number 7, it's madness to take a goalie in the top 10 unless you know they're going to be excellent. And Matt, this is a redraft, so we know he's going to be pretty effing good. John Gibson is going to go play in Canada. This is a guy.
I in Philly, so you are a piece of garbage, and I hate you.
There's 60 goalie jobs, and this is a guy who's up there for Vezina's, All-Stars, excellent save percentage. I don't know what else to really add for you, Matt. This is the best guy out of this draft far away.
We're basically saying like now the Jets don't have to wait for Hellebuck; they get John Gibson now. So Hellebuck, who I absolutely should win the Vezina this year. But yeah, now they have another Vezina candidate year after year, and he maybe has his off times are really off, but his on times are super on. So yeah, Johnny, I would have liked to have in Philly, even though it's kind of the same argument because now they have Carter Hart who got that beautiful handshake from Carey Price at the end of that series the other day. But I guess John Gibson is always touted like in Anaheim they always feel like he doesn't get enough attention. But here at the Brothers of Discussion we honor him with that's the 7th pick. So then I've got the Flyers who took Sean Couture.
I can't think of a higher honor, by the way. But go ahead.
Right. I'm going to make this easy, and I'm just going to go Huberdeau. I think he probably shouldn't have fallen this far, but I get it from the perspective of when you're trying to think of top names in the NHL, you don't necessarily your mind doesn't race to the Florida Panthers. So he goes number 3 overall in this draft. This is a guy without having a winning team, and we talk about point share and how we're talking about how many points you're bringing to your team's franchise. It actually is based off of that team's actual success. And Huberdeau still being in the top 10 for that statistic in this draft is huge because why? Well, because the Florida Panthers always suck. So, that's huge for a guy to be on this team and still bring points to a team that struggles to even win. But on top of that, we're not talking about a bad hockey player by no means. This is a guy who had probably his best season production-wise just a year ago, getting those 92 points in 82 games. Do I know this off the top of my head? I'm reading the 92 points right now off hockeyreference.com. But it's been the last few seasons where he's really stood out as all right, now he's gotten over the hump. He's a point-per-game player. Let him roll with it. But, you're also playing that game, too. It's been 10 years since he's been drafted, so it's not like we're still talking about a kid anymore. But he's hitting that point where he's got maybe 1 or 2 more years of that point-per-game production, and then statistically you start to see the drop-off. So Huberdeau he's got a couple years left. But, if you're talking a 92-point season, why would you not want to pick that up in the top 10 in the draft? Because there's also another 300 guys who are drafted after him that are not going to be able to do that. So, yeah, give me Huberdeau. I apologize. He should not have fallen this far.
Apologies. This is my last pick for this draft. Bruins originally took Dougie, but those sons of bitches. I don't know what else they want. For some reason, they don't like excellent 6'6" defensemen. I guess we're gonna find out how they feel about pretty good 6'1" left-handed left wings. Somehow the guy who is number 5 in point share out of this draft, he's tumbled all the way to number 9. And I think it's because he didn't quite have a huge monster, point scoring season. He's kind of in the running for Selke stuff. not quite, top 5 finishes for that or anything, but he's up there. He's put some effort in. He's on the stat sheet, and maybe just kind of fill out your roster with kind of more of a second line guy. And Matt, he was our Calder Cup winner here in 2011 and 12 for Colorado. So Matt, talking about guys tumbling, talking about guys with fun last names, Landeskog. He's going to Boston. He finally cracked the Discussion 5 draft here. He's only got one 82 game season under his belt.
Sweat from the brow.
He's sitting in his living room just waiting by the phone, just checking it. Yeah, they have nothing yet. Hello, yeah, and finally gets picked here at number 9. Last season it looked like he was finally getting that point a game consistency. He had the 75 and the 72 games. But this season again, he's just having trouble, getting that full season. He kind of, gets a few bumps and bruises here and there, and just, out of the 9 years now that he's been in the league. It was earlier in his career where he had the 82 game seasons. And now he's, kind of missing some here and there. So that's why you hit number 9. That's why you're not in our, top couple picks here. And Matt, you're going to close it out with the Wild. And this is a guy that I was on the fence about picking, and I couldn't talk myself into it, but I see who you are taking down there.
Yeah, I always give it away on the last one. I talked about how they're my favorite team, or second favorite team to the Detroit Red Wings. They're so much fun to watch as the Vegas Golden Knights. And what they did a couple years ago was take some pieces from some other teams where they were talented fellers. They just hadn't been given an opportunity. And what we saw in 2017-18 was William Karlsson really lighting it up, getting Hart Trophy votes, winning the Bing, getting Selke votes. It's not very often that you see a guy almost go point per game, get the Selke votes, get Hart votes. The Bing, the Bing's the Bing. He comes in with a 23% shooting percentage. So, you could make the argument right there. Oh, that's you make the correct argument that that's only going to be one season. And that, it didn't follow him for his successive seasons, the next 2 seasons. But you can't just ignore the fact that he did hit that point. That's the problem with analytics is there's too many, the mindset is just already all right, if he has a high shooting percentage, he's only going to have that one season. But when you're taking a look back, why don't you want that one season? If you're doing a redraft like we're doing, are you really going to sneeze at that and go, well, we don't want this guy because he's going to be amazing for 1 year and then he's going to be pretty good for those other years? No. It's so hard to find a good hockey player in these goddamn drafts. So yeah, give me William Karlsson. Had that monster season in the first season for the Golden Knights. He's still a solid forward. I know he's taken quite a step back, but I think he's coming into his own as that at least serviceable. The Golden Knights have made quite an upgrade on their first, all of their forward lines. But what William Karlsson is still asked to do out there, I think he does more than enough. And again, to be that ragtag group in the first year for the Golden Knights and really step up, I'm going to take Karlsson no problem at number 10. And hopefully, hopefully he actually gets a shot. And again, I'm not even paying attention who I'm drafting for. The Minnesota Wild. I think that was the last pick I was thinking about because, you kind of get a consistent Landeskog constellation, or you get one amazing Karlsson shooting star. So right. I was just kind of I get a little bit more consistency, even though this was a pretty amazing year for him. So. Well, time to wrap it up. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. You can find us at BOD Hockey for all of our continued Red Wing coverage. You can find us on Instagram, brothers_of_discussion. Check out all of our SummerSlam and NXT stuff for our pro wrestling podcast, Brothers of Discussion. And don't forget to check out the Hockey Podcast Network at HockeyPodNet. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.